There are several seam finishing options to choose from within the Feeling Loopy pattern. One of the options for 2 separate steps is to use bias binding. For those specific seams, you will need to calculate the amount of bias needed following the formula provided within the instruction booklet. I'll show you this here. First, measure the seam length that you want to cover. For this top view, it's going to be the semicircle cutout seam. Take your seam length measurement and multiply it by 2 if you're going to be doing 2 separate seams. 64 inches is my sum A. Ignore the fact I just wrote 65. It's 64 times 0.05 is giving myself an extra 5% of length, just in case. I would hate to run out while I'm working on a seam binding. So this is optional to add the 5%. So 3.2 inches is 5%. So now my new sum A is going to be 67.2 inches. I'm going to multiply that by 1.25, which is 1¼ inch. And that's the width of the bias tape that I'm making. So multiply your sum A by 1.25. I get 84. So 84 is my sum B. Now I need to calculate the square root of 84. I don't know how to do that by hand. I don't remember high school algebra or whatever kind of math it is. Google it. So the square root of 84 is 9.2. So round up to 10 by 10. So I need a 10 by 10 inch square in order to make continuous bias tape to cover my seams. You can easily convert this measurement into centimeters by multiplying it by 2.54. That'll give you the centimeters you need as a square. In order to make continuous bias tape, you can see my other video for how to make continuous bias tape from the square measurement you just created. This is how you're going to sew your bias binding seam finish. Pin your bias tape face down to the edge of your fabric piece you would like to finish. Sew with a 1/4 inch or 6mm seam allowance. Trim the excess bias tape at the start and end of your fabric piece. Trim the seam allowance down to 1/8 inch or 3mm. Press the bias tape away from the fabric piece. Flip your fabric piece face down. Fold under the raw edge of your bias tape. The edge of the bias tape should just meet the edge of your seam allowance. Press it in place as you fold. Fold your bias tape around the seam allowance towards the back side of your fabric and press again. Your seam allowance should be completely enclosed now. Sew an edge stitch to secure the folded bias tape in place. Give your finished seam a press.